So today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic because an email is the most frequent um, communication uh, technique that we have to share our thoughts, connect and exchange information with other people. So today, actually this topic I proposed it a few weeks ago to CAMEX because from my perspective, I believe that one of the characteristics of very successful people is that they are able to communicate very well. So in order to prepare you to be better professionals and better international professionals now that you are studying English, it's very important to improve these skills. So how to write a sales email that people want to respond. Okay, so here is a little bit more about my story. So this is me. My name is Lourdes Usuriaga, and I've been a professional since I believe 2008 when I started like my internships, and I had a chance to work for many companies, big and small companies. I had a chance to work abroad because I traveled to another country and I lived there, and those experiences allow me to practice my English and also to um, witness the importance of mastering the language, because it really opens your world and gives you another view of the things. Okay, so let's jump to our session. After completing this session, you will be able to write a compelling email to improve the chance to have an answer. Okay, so from what I heard, I see that we have people who work for another country, and there are other ones who want to start an import or export business, and they want to explore suppliers, and they want to get new clients, and everything is going to be in English because, at least for now, that's the global language. So uh, we have to like be very direct and very focused in our communication, and that's what I would like to teach you today. So please remember that this is an advanced level class. So that means that I'm going to talk in English all this session. So you may want to ask, if you would like to ask something, you have the chat box and we can start from that. Okay, so also you may have any other suggestion, or maybe you would like me to repeat something because I may speak a little bit fast. And the thing is that, you know, uh, this level requires you to improve your listening skills. That's why I'm trying to speak as normal as I can, as if I were talking with someone who is native in English. Okay, so what should we learn to write an effective email? And the answer is copywriting. So do you know what copywriting means? Okay, so I believe that some of you may have searched for copywriting. So let's find out what is it. So a copyright is about getting them to want to engage with you. Okay, so remember that it's very possible that we will send the first communication. So we are the ones who are looking for them. So it's very important to catch their attention in order to be able to have an answer, okay? Copywriting is also about generously giving something valuable to the person, not just greedily asking for stuff, okay? So um, copywriting follows the networking rules that says something like you first have to give, and then and after that you expect to receive. So please first give and then you get. So getting to them what they want, and then they are going to buy from you, okay? Not because of pressure or because you want them to do it, but because they enjoy the content and the help that you gave them, okay? So copywriting is rearranging words to make things sell better. So if you choose the right words, you're going to have much more chances to gain their trust, okay? It's a text form or of the salesmanship, but there's a lot more to it in that. So have you ever had to convince somebody? Maybe, so let's see. I believe we have Gary and we have Pedro. Have you ever had to convince somebody? Maybe you had to get a permission or an approval for a project, or maybe you needed more budget and you had to convince your boss to give you more money, or maybe you had to negotiate your salary. So have you ever been in those situations? Okay, so the answer is yes, because there must be some moment in time that we needed to convince someone, okay? So it doesn't mean that this is just made for salespeople, okay? So you don't have to be salesperson to convince people. Actually, one of the main characteristics of successful professionals is that they are able to engage other people into the work or inspire them to do something. And that's going to give you more exposure, and it's going to give you more possibilities to advance in your professional career. Okay, so great. So here Bobby is in sales. So this is a specific example of Bobby, okay? And his job is to write 10 emails per day and send them to important people and try to get them to buy stuff. Okay, so think about this a little bit because he's going to try to get the attention of very important people. And that very important people is they probably receive a lot of emails. And of course, as everyone in this world, we have this attention span that is shorter every year. Okay, so now he has a lot of competition because a lot of people is trying to get the attention of uh, his target. So he writes the emails to these 10 people, but hardly any respond. Okay, so he worked a lot to uh, explain himself the best way as possible. He sent it, he reviewed it. It may have the perfect orthography or grammar, but that wasn't enough because he didn't receive any answer from them. But why? So let's see what happened with Bob now that he sent those emails. In the in the right, we are going to see an example. So it says to Mr. Moneybags at gmail.com from Bobby at gmail.com, and the subject says, hey, give me money. Okay, so he start with this part. Dear Mr. Moneybags, I really want money from you, so please buy my products. Our products are good and we are dedicated to strong customer support, loyalty, and we recognize the importance of customer care, and we are here to help you implement your organizational needs. Sincerely, Bob. Okay, so this email is very atypical. Okay, so there are obviously many mistakes. And I would like you to help me find those mistakes. So can you hear me? Which would be the first mistakes that we have here? So let me put the answer, the question here. What what kind of mistakes do we have here? So what's wrong with this email? What's wrong? Okay, so let me see if, Okay. So what's the first mistake here? Here we have that Bob is not using a corporate email. Okay, so I believe here I have this. Okay, I'm going to draw. Now I'm going to. Okay. So as I told you, Bob with red. So Bob is not using his professional email. And that's wrong because if you write from Gmail, it's like a personal email and it doesn't have the same importance as if Rob writes from a more trustful source, you know? For example, in Camex, we have an email, okay? So there is a user at camex.org.pe, okay? And that's more formal than saying Lourdes at gmail.com, okay? So the second mistake is that Bob writes a very strange subject. So it's like, hey, give me money. So of course, this is something that shouldn't happen. But also what I would like to add is that sometimes when you see an email in your inbox, you don't have an idea about what is it, okay? And that shouldn't be the case because the subject should give you a clue about the topic or about the communication. So if it is important for you, you are going to open it right away. Okay? So the third mistake. So he didn't introduce himself. Here we kind of suppose that Bobby is new for this Mr. Moneybag. So if that's the case, Bobby should introduce himself and tell a little bit about him, what company that he represents, or how did he get the email, or why he thought that this email could be interesting for Mr. Moneybags. Okay, so saying something like I really want money from you is not okay. I understand that that's one of the intentions, to get money from the business, but of course people want to hear or want to read what is it for them. Okay, so please buy my products. No, you don't have to beg for someone to buy something from you. So this is not okay. That's wrong. And then he says, our products are good. Okay, so how do you know they are good? Good is a very general word. So good for who? Good, why? When is it good? in what context, in what situation, okay? And we are dedicated to strong customer support, loyalty, and we recognize the importance of blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you don't write to someone to brag about yourself. They, they don't want to see it. If you want to highlight how good you are, the best way to do it is to show some testimonials about your product or about your company, okay? So there must be some very loyal clients who are willing to give you a really nice paragraph about their experience with you, okay? If you don't have that, I really suggest to talk about benefits instead of characteristics or instead of functionality. It doesn't work. You have to be kind of emotional because people are looking for something in the text and you have to give them what they want. Okay, so let's jump to the next example. Okay, so next. So why did Bob didn't have any luck with those emails? Because that email, it wasn't easy to read, it wasn't attractive for the reader, and also it wasn't interesting. Okay, so if we are exposed to that content, we wouldn't answer. So for the potential client, that email is so boring. Okay, so the email is totally useless to Mr. Moneybags, and also he gets annoyed and doesn't respond. Okay, because he thinks that trying to understand that email and also responding that email is a waste of his time. And he's right. That's, and as you can see, so we have here. Okay, so as we can see, that's how we see the power of the copyright. Okay, so now Bobby knows this and he is willing to improve his email. And this is the result. So this is the email 2.0 version. Okay, so as you can see, Bobby is still using his Gmail, so he should improve that. In the subject, it is much better because as you can see, before he put some subject like, hey, give me your money, but now it's like, cut your HTX costs. He goes right to the main interest about Mr. Moneybags. Yeah, so he's showing the very best benefit in the subject line. Okay, now he knows Mr. Moneybags, and he knows what he's looking for. So he promises to cut his HTX costs. Okay, so he's using some jargon because he's very confident that uh, he's going to be understood. So, hey, Mr. Moneybag, I figure out a way to cut your HTX building costs by at least 55%. So that this is great because he says he's showing that he has something that Mr. Moneybags doesn't have. And that's a way to cut his HTX costs. And also he is putting a number. Putting a number is very powerful because you can say that you help them, you know, like cut costs, but for example, if it is just 10%, it's like, oh, no, it doesn't matter. 20%, 30%, like maybe, but it's it's more, it costs more to change the supplier. And now you offer 55%, so it's more than half of the cost. That's something that is going to engage your reader and is going to want to read more. So he says, I attach this report that shows your company will easily save 55% by sourcing your granite from a closer location. I found 3 vendors close by. Email me back if you want some more vendor recommendations. Sincerely, Bobby. Okay, so he's not begging to have an answer. He's not begging to that person. So he's showing the real benefit very direct, very clearly. And he is attaching more information. That's why this email is very short, because if that person wants more detail, he can open that PDF. And also, now that he has the attention of the reader, he puts like, if you want more information, just answer. So he's saying, I'm not going to push this. I know what I have, and if you really want it, you are going to write. So that's how he projects himself as a more confident person. And let's be honest. People who are more confident are more appealing and give you more, inspire you, and to give them your trust. Okay, so of course, now what happens? Now that Bobby is sending this really awesome email, Mr. Moneybag is way more likely to engage with Bobby, because Mr. Moneybags is going to say something like, wow, awesome vendor. because he's giving information. He took the time to give me some recommendations to save money. So yes, please, I would like to talk to you because you know what I want, okay? And now, what should we expect as a result? Now, in this second version of the email, he got 6 responses. So he really improved his results because he's giving first awesome stuff, and now that he gives, he can expect to get. And that's something that we were talking about at the beginning. Okay, so as conclusion, what can we conclude about this? We really need to learn more about copywriting, okay? Because copywriting comes from the marketing and advertising side, but we should all know a little bit more about this because it's going to help us be more empathetic with the people and write our emails thinking about them instead of thinking about us, okay? So be aware that copywriting is not just for salespeople, it's for everyone. It should be something basic as part of a communication skills course, and it's going to help us be more effective and also save time because now we are going to have more answers, and it's going to give us some help in our efforts to persuade people. Okay, so do you have any question about these slides? Okay, great. So let me go to the next slide. Okay, so this is our student survey. Let me put it in the chat box here. Student survey. Please fill this survey in order to answer the questions and also to know more about how was your experience in this class. Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, so let's jump to the beginning of our session. So today we studied a technique to send emails to have a better chance to have an answer. We'll learn a little bit more about copywriting, and I expect that you will write more compelling emails so you get more answers to your requirements or your communications. Okay, so those are my reference. So thank you very much for connecting to this class. I hope you enjoyed this session. It was very fun for me. Okay, thank you. Very good to hear it, Alex. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure for me to be your teacher for this session, and I hope you can join me in our next session, okay? So I'm going to close this class and have a good week. Thank you very much. Good night.